All right, now a few things I want to address. Tone and mood. Tone and mood are two different things, and they have a lot to do with our writing, but at the same time, they also have a lot to do with our presentation. Now, tone and mood are literary elements. They're literary devices, and we should be aware of them, okay? So they're two different things. And what I mean by that is one does affect the other. There's no denying that, but they're two distinct ideas. So tone is something that you likely think about every day, but you do not have to worry about mood unless you read a lot of fiction or really creative nonfiction. So while they might seem like similar concepts as we dive into them a little bit, their purposes are actually quite different. So what is tone? Does anyone have any idea what tone is? Okay, so tone consists of the attitude that is conveyed by your words, your punctuation, your sentence structure, and other things that you're happening, other nuances. So every sentence that you read or that you write has its own tone. So if you're putting a period at the end of a sentence in an informal text chain with your friend, they might be wondering if you're mad at them, right? Think about it. If you're sending a text and you put a period at the end, and you don't usually do that, I don't know if you guys send texts yet, but that might indicate that they're mad at you. They might think that you're mad at them because you've made it a little bit more formal. If somebody puts an exclamation point at the end, what might that mean? Yes, Rachel W.
Probably that they're surprised.
Exactly. There's some form of excitement or there's some form of alarm. Okay. If you have shorter sentences, people might come across as a little bit annoyed, while longer ones might convey some anxiety or lack of confidence. Mood is a little bit different. So mood is the vibe that the larger sense of the text give you. So tone is your sentences and mood is overall. Okay. So think of a spooky story. All right. It might leave you feeling a little bit scared. That would be a mood. Okay. Or if we think about a romantic sonnet, like we've talked about a little bit, the mood of the sonnet is how it's feeling overall. Okay. So a lot of that can be expressed. So if we think of tone is our sentences and mood is our overall. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, now when we're evoking mood in public speaking, there's a few things that go into it. So in particular, you can create mood with your words, which is kind of the whole point when we think about speech writing. It's not just about meaning or even body language, although those do play a really significant role. When we look at a team of psychologists and a team of phonicists based in Germany, they've tested that the effects of actual sounds of our vowels have changed us on our mood. So it turns out, for instance, and this is some information from Nick Morgan, who's a contributor to Forbes magazine. And it turns out that I sounds like in high and by, okay, those I sounds generate really positive moods and they make people really happy. Whereas O sounds like, oh no, generate negative moods, which is really neat, isn't it? The sounds of the words actually affect the mood of the audience. So if I were to say hi, it would make you feel positive. And if I were to say, oh no, it would make you to feel negative. And there are studies that back that up. So that makes a little bit of sense. So you can create a positive mood using different sounds and a negative mood using other sounds, which is a really neat way to go about it. So that's one really cool tip for when we're creating mood. Tone is a little bit different when we come to the actual presentation. So when we're writing our stories and we're writing our speeches, the tone is within our sentences. But when we're writing our speeches, where is the mood? Does anyone have any idea where the mood is when we're writing our speeches? Is it in the sentence or is it somewhere else? Where's the mood? What did I say? The tone is in our sentences and the mood is in our overall writing, okay? In all of the writing when you put it together. So if you've written a paragraph, the tone is in each individual sentences. The mood is in your paragraph. It's the way it makes somebody feel, okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? Awesome, Rachel. And then we switch over to, okay, well, what about when we present it? And that's when that I sound makes more positive references, and the oh sound as in oh no makes more negative references. And that evokes a mood in how we are feeling in the more familiar version of the word mood. Tone is a little bit different. Tone is a linguistic term when we're speaking, and it describes your voice pitch. But the same term used to describe public speaking deals with a really complex analysis of the speaker's attitude and how the audience perceives the message overall, which is what we're going to call mood for us right now, just to make it a little bit easier. So tone is affected by lots of different things, and we've talked about a lot of them already, which is really nice. So the first thing it's affected by is the introduction you make. And you'll notice that one of the first things we did in this class is we made self-introductions, right? Introductions capture your audience's attention. They draw the listener into the topic of the presentation, but they also set your tone for the overall speech. Appropriate humor attracts interest, but using an inappropriate or offensive joke does not, okay? It distracts. Introductions for a business type of speech, you have to attract the audience's interest. Focus on the listener to help improve your overall tone. And those are those things, ways to improve your tone in the beginning that we address right here. Those are repetition, our anecdotes, our statistics, and so on.